Hello Internet, my name is Rob and welcome to my channel, A Minor Error. In this video we're going to take an in-depth look at the MAONOCASTER E2 podcasting console. In this video we'll be doing an unboxing. I'll also be covering all of the features of this product as well as showing you how it sounds. I will be using a Maono microphone to go along with this test. I'm going to be using the HD300 series USB/XLR microphone along with it. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so we are now currently hearing the Maono microphone hooked up to the MAONOCASTER. The way that I'm listening right now is through the output of the monitor through a pair of headphones. I decided for the sake of this test, I'm also going to use the second headphone output located right here, which I have connected directly to my camera. I'm not using any sort of processing or anything. It's just exactly as the microphone sounds using the Maono microphone. I'm just holding it by hand right now. I will say that the bass is very well made. It is metal and it is very heavy. So if you're going to be sitting this on a desktop, that's going to work great. I really like that it came with a pop filter as well as a shock cage to help isolate the microphone from any sort of rumble or noise. So if I kind of tap the mic, you can hear how much that comes through. So that isolation cage is helping isolate the microphone, which is great. Right now I have my iPad hooked up to the aux input, and I can control the overall level with the aux knob right here. And right now that's playing a track off of my new Doom cover EP that I put out recently. I'm a guitar player primarily, so that is that. I also wanted to hook it up to the headphone output so you could really hear what I'm hearing as I change through different presets, specifically like the reverb. Right now I have the reverb totally turned off, and the way that you control the reverb is with the two different knobs right here. You've got a depth and a decay time. So if I start to turn up the depth, you can start to hear its effects slightly, and you can kind of control how deep it is. And the decay time controls the length. So I'll turn that up, and the reverb is going to get a little bit longer. And then if I turn the depth up, we get more. So you've got real fine-tuned control of how much reverb you might want to hear and use. The cool thing about this is that there are many different controls of the levels. So I have the mic gain control right here on this fader, so I can turn the sensitivity up and down. I do also have a 48-volt phantom power, so if you're using a different mic, this is a dynamic mic, and that does not require phantom power. But if you did need phantom power for like a condenser mic, you could engage it right there. There is a control for the monitor level, so if I turn that down, it's going to go down. Turn that up, that goes up. So that's where we can hear what we're hearing. And then there's a separate dedicated output, which is controlled with that one. So you can have multiple different outputs going on right now. And that's kind of the point with something like this, to be able to have more control over your audio, added flexibility. So I think what I'll do for a test is just kind of show you the different reverb presets. It's kind of cool when you hit it. There's like a little announcement.
Mix mode.
So now we'll change it.
Original.
Testing 1, 2. I'll turn the decay time. So obviously original is a far subtle effect. Now.
Karaoke.
Testing. Obviously a far more ridiculous amount of reverb. Depends on what you're doing. Controlling the decay time. It's a much shorter reverb now. And then now it's basically gone. Next.
Church.
Big like hall reverb. And again, I could turn the decay up, make it last very long. The depth up. It's pretty enormous reverb.
Hall.
Hall reverb. Checking. Again, big reverb.
Valley.
Another enormous reverb. Just loads of decay time.
Room.
And check. Smaller, tighter sounding room. All right.
Original.
And back to where we started. The MAONOCASTER comes with a very useful diagram to help show you some common settings that you might want to use it as, which I found fantastic for just kind of getting your bearings around a product like this, because there is a lot of flexibility. It's important to note that there are 3 different settings on the back of the unit for the microphone that you might be using. So depending on the dynamic range of the microphone. So you've got 40 dB for a condenser, and then 2 different ranges for the dynamic. I currently have it turned up to the highest setting for the dynamic microphone. And with that setting, I'm only up slightly on I'm up about halfway on the gain control for mic number 1. So they give you a diagram for computer and mobile streaming, music recording, because there is an instrument input if you wanted to record an actual musical device, some settings for gaming and education, and then just general ideas for how to use your microphone and set it up. So I'm just going to run through a brief list of the functionality of this little product. The cool thing is it is battery powered, so right now it's running on its own. There's a small LED lights at the top. It also has Bluetooth functionality. Right now, just right out of the box without charging it, it came out with 3 out of 4 of the battery, so you should be good to go for a long time. For the functionality, it provides support for a variety of microphones and inputs, so XLR dynamic or condenser microphones, 6.35 millimeter microphones, and 3.5 millimeter microphones. It also has 11 user custom sound effects. This includes 3 long memory slots, 4 pitch changers. This setup works great for mixing, monitoring, and equalizing. It does provide a control for the low, mid, and high frequencies. It does have Bluetooth connectivity for music accompaniment, and this is great for either using multiple devices simultaneously while live streaming and using multiple people, because we do have multiple mic inputs. Mic input 1, the one that I'm using currently right now, is a dedicated XLR. Mic input 2 is a small 1/8 inch jack. So if I adjust the equalization, check, 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 you can hear now I'm getting substantially darker sounding because we're basically removing the high frequencies back to normal. I don't think you would necessarily want to boost it too much, but you could if you wanted to get a little bit more of that breathiness. You also have a mids control, so you can kind of scoop out the mids or boost them. And then probably the most useful is actually the low control, just to kind of dial out maybe a little bit of the lows if you didn't need them. We've got an instrument sensitivity control right here, and then the pitch setting,
which is kind of fun.
You can do all sorts of
silly sound effects. That could be fun.
And again, that last knob is the monitor knob, which is what we're using to listen right now. In an attempt to kind of demonstrate the denoise, I'm holding the owner's manual right now, which was making a little bit of noise, and I'm going to turn it on and off to give you an idea of what that denoise is doing.
Noise canceling off.
So here's with it off. You can hear me like touching the paper very easily with the denoise on.
Noise canceling on.
I have to hit the paper very hard in order to be heard. So this is great if you're in like a city setting like I am. I live here in Philadelphia, and sometimes it gets a little bit noisy with people driving back and forth. So if that's your situation, the denoise might work fantastic. With these custom audio effect buttons, the MaonoCaster E2 provides 11 custom audio effects buttons. These can either record songs, music, beats, or anything via the external mic or audio input, Bluetooth input, and you can save them. So as an example, I saved a quick little clip of one of my songs playing right here. And then you can quickly, pull that up and hit playback. So you could have your own custom sound effects or whatnot that would work great for your podcast or whatever it was you were live streaming. So a cool feature is this sidechain button.
Sidechain on.
So now that the sidechain's on, if I turn up the music that's playing, now if I start to talk, it's going to automatically duck and lower that volume of that music so I can talk over top of it. So you could basically have your background music playing, and then when you stop talking, it'll automatically turn the volume up and down for you. That could be very useful, and then you can kind of fine-tune that control from here. So if I turn that down a little bit, now it's a little bit quieter underneath my voice because of that sidechain being turned on. That's a great feature. I mean, I do that in all my YouTube videos in general. I always put audio behind me talking. It just kind of improves the production quality in general. So that sidechain is very cool and very useful. Then obviously, depending on the way you wanted to do it, you could have the control to just turn off the music altogether, so you could have it come in, start to talk over top of it, and then slowly roll it down. That's very useful. The Loopback Mode, by turning on the Loopback, it will allow the MaonoCaster to record the system audio from the USB-C input. If you turn it off, you'll still be able to hear the system audio from monitoring, but it will not be recorded. When choosing to activate the dry wet, the indicator light will be turned on and only the mic input audio will be recorded. Activate wet mode means that the light is turned off and all reverberations and background audio will be recorded and exported to the output devices. So that's great functionality if you want to control that reverb level, especially that you may or may not be using. And if you want to hear it yourself, but then not end up having it recorded so that you can have extra control after the fact. That's a great way of doing that. On the back panel of the MaonoCaster, there is a power button. There is also a button that you have to press and hold to turn off the LED displays on the unit. There's also two USB-C connection points, one to connect it to a computer, one to connect it to a charging device in order to charge the internal battery. You also have a live output 1 and live output 2. There's a monitor for a speaker, an aux in, and then a input for a second microphone, a mic 1 settings where you can control the sensitivity of the mic, and an instrument input as well as a combo jack mic 1 input that doubles as a instrument input as well. So there is a load of flexibility here, lots of inputs and outputs, with 2 headphone outputs as well, is pretty much going to accommodate anything you're going to need to accommodate in your either podcast or live streaming needs. All right, well, thank you for checking out my review video of the MaonoCaster and the H300 series microphone. The microphone comes with a great pop filter and shock mount cage, and the base for sitting on a desktop is perfect for podcasting. This would be a great package to get you started. The MaonoCaster has loads of different effects, like I'm using the sidechain right now to control the volume of my own music that's playing in the background off of my iPad, as well as dedicated control for the output. Many different outputs and inputs. Definitely be able to take care of whatever your routing needs are for either a live stream or creating a podcast. So thanks again for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.